They never told you the truth, did they? From the moment you opened your eyes in this world, you were being watched not with admiration, but with calculation. The system saw you long before you saw yourself. You were marked, not by choice, but by essence, a presence that could not be contained. And that is exactly why they came for you. You were born into a war, but no one gave you a weapon, no sword, no shield, just silence. The battlefield wasn't outside of you, it was within. Your mind became the terrain, and every thought, every doubt, every hesitation a landmine carefully planted to detonate your destiny. You wonder why life felt heavy even when you were young, why betrayal struck like lightning from those who claimed to love you, why you always felt like the outsider, even among family. That wasn't a coincidence. It was design. This world does not fear the loud, the rich, the flamboyant. It fears the one who sees beyond the veil, the one who carries a light that exposes shadows. They tried to convince you that you were broken, that you were weak, that your emotions were too much, that your voice was too loud, your dreams too impossible, and you almost believed them, almost, but something inside you never died. A whisper in your spirit that said, "This isn't all there is." That whisper, that was the call of the chosen. You see, wolves don't hunt the sick. They chase the strongest, not to devour their weakness, but to silence their power. And that's what they've been doing to you since the beginning. Your trials were not punishment. They were confirmation. Every door slammed in your face. Every betrayal. Every heartbreak was a strategic move to distract you from remembering who you are. But here you are, still breathing, still rising. They never expected that. Because the thing they fear most isn't your success, it's your awakening. Because when a chosen one remembers who they are, the entire system begins to tremble. You weren't sent here to follow. You were sent here to lead, to tear down illusions, to challenge the very fabric of the matrix. And they know it. That's why they attack your energy, your peace, your clarity. Because if you ever truly stepped into your power, they wouldn't be able to contain the light you'd unleash. This war, it isn't fought with guns and bombs. It's fought in whispers, in silent glances, in energetic warfare. They manipulate, distract, distort. They surround you with people who don't see your worth, so you start to question it yourself. But the most dangerous thing in the world is a chosen one who sees clearly. So let me ask you something. How many times have you been knocked down just as you were about to break through? How many times have your dreams been interrupted by chaos that seemed to come out of nowhere? That was not random. That was the enemy trying to stop what they saw coming. They saw your light before you did, and they feared it. But guess what? It's too late now. You've seen enough, felt enough, lost enough, to finally say, "I remember." And when a chosen one remembers, the war shifts. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not cursed. You are called. You are not alone. You are rising. Welcome to the battlefield. Welcome to your awakening. Let the war begin. Long before you ever took your first breath, before your soul entered this lifetime, there was a stirring in the realm beyond the veil, a decision made, a path chosen, not by accident, but by design. You were not born randomly. You were sent. The world will try to convince you that you are a product of chance, a fleeting spark in a vast and indifferent universe. But that's a lie crafted to keep the chosen asleep. Because if you ever remembered the truth, the ancient, soul-deep truth, you would rise with a fire they could never extinguish. In ancient texts, in myths that stretch across continents and centuries, there is always a pattern: the child who is hidden, the one who is abandoned, attacked, or misunderstood. Look closely and you'll see yourself written into every story. Moses floated down a river with nothing but purpose in his cries. Krishna was born in a prison cell, yet destined to change the world. Joan of Arc was just a girl who heard voices, but those voices were not madness, they were mission. You are not the first, and you will not be the last. The archetype of the chosen one is as old as time, the one who walks alone, the one who sees what others do not, the one who suffers without understanding why. These are not accidents. These are markers. These are signs that the universe, the divine, the source, whatever name speaks to your soul, has placed a seed within you. And that seed, it only breaks open through pressure. They called it madness, but it was vision. Or they called it loneliness, but it was preparation. They called it failure, but it was formation. In the traditions of the East, the bodhisattvas chose to return, to suffer with humanity, to guide and illuminate. In the desert, prophets wandered for decades, not because they were lost, but because their spirits were being tempered like steel. Even the stars are born in darkness, under pressure so intense it would crush anything ordinary. And you never were ordinary. The pain you felt growing up, the feeling of being different, of never quite belonging, of sensing something deeper while others laughed at the surface. That was the echo of your soul remembering where it came from. You weren't made to fit in. You were crafted to break patterns. That's why you don't find peace in shallow things. That's why every time you tried to conform, something inside you rebelled. You felt it a tension, a pull, an ache. And that ache wasn't weakness. It was destiny calling. You come from a lineage of warriors, prophets, sages, and visionaries, not by blood, but by spirit. And spirit is thicker than flesh. Remember who you are. The forces that oppose you are ancient, but so are you. You did not just wake up. You were awakened, triggered by a frequency that only the chosen can hear. And once you hear it, you cannot unhear it. Once you know, you cannot unknow. And once you remember, you are never the same. You were sent here to remember the truth hidden beneath the noise, to awaken others by your presence alone. You don't have to preach, prove, or perform. Just being who you are sends ripples through the fabric of illusion. So when you feel isolated, misunderstood, or out of place, know this: the eagle does not fly in flocks, and the higher it flies, the fewer can follow. You were set apart because you are sacred. And now, the remembering begins. Have you ever wondered how you made it this far? How, despite all the storms, betrayals, and battles, you are still standing? Others crumbled under less. Some gave up. Some never recovered. But you endured. And not because you were lucky, because you were protected. There is a mark upon the chosen that the world cannot see, but darkness recognizes instantly, a mark that whispers, "Not this one." And when chaos comes to devour, when the shadows rise, something unseen always intervenes, not to make the path easy, but to ensure it continues. This is the mystery of divine protection. You weren't saved from every scar. No, but you were saved from destruction. When the night grew darkest, something held you. When betrayal gutted you, something stitched your spirit back together, not because you begged, but because you were meant to finish what you started before you even arrived. Joan of Arc walked into fire, but the fire could not destroy her name. Moses was hidden in a basket, but the waters carried him into destiny. David faced giants not with armor, but with faith. These are not myths, they are reminders that those who are chosen are not spared from danger. They are delivered through it. And so were you. Every car crash missed by seconds, every relationship that ended right before it broke you, every door that slammed shut was not rejection, but redirection. Every heartbreak that left you gasping was clearing space for deeper alignment. They thought you were finished, but divine protection said otherwise. This force, call it God, Source, Spirit. The universe has been moving pieces on your behalf since before you knew the game existed. You walked through valleys, not because you were abandoned, but because mountains don't grow in the shallow. Do you remember that moment when you almost gave up, when the weight felt unbearable, when silence screamed louder than your prayer? That was the threshold, and you crossed it. Divine protection isn't about ease. It's about endurance. It's not about escaping pain. It's about being forged by it. Because here's the truth. Those who carry great light must walk through great darkness, not as punishment, but as preparation. The fire you walked through wasn't sent to destroy you. It was sent to awaken you. You don't know how many times you were rescued from what would have broken your mind. You don't see the battles that were fought for you in silence, in realms unseen. But your survival is the evidence. Every morning you rise as proof. Every time your spirit whispered, "Keep going," when logic said, "Give up." That was the divine moving through you. So now you must understand your life is not random. Your protection is not accidental. The forces that stand with you are not imaginary. You have been shielded for a reason. You have been preserved for purpose. You are not just surviving. You are being positioned, because what comes next requires you whole. The same force that protected you in the wilderness will empower you in the war. You are covered. You are chosen, and nothing formed against you will prosper. Walk forward like someone who knows heaven has your back. There is a reason you see things others cannot. A reason why silence often speaks louder to you than words. A reason you sense the energy in a room before anyone opens their mouth. It's not imagination. It's sacred wisdom. The chosen are born with a knowing. Not the kind you learn in books, but the kind that wakes up inside you like an old friend returning home. You hear things that were never said. You feel truths that others deny. And because of that, they call you strange, too sensitive, too deep. But they do not understand what lives inside you. You were given insight, not for comfort, but for calling. Wisdom is not a decoration. It's a burden, a fire, a compass through chaos. And when you carry it, you cannot live like the rest. You've always questioned things, not to rebel, but because your spirit refused to accept illusions. You saw through smiles, through systems, through shadows. Even as a child, something in you said, "This isn't right." And you were right. This world has been designed to reward the obedient and punish the aware. But awareness is your gift, your ability to see through the veil, to discern what others dismiss, to feel the tremors beneath the surface. This is sacred, and sacred things are never common. So when they mocked you for being different, they were really reacting to what they couldn't name. When they tried to mold you into someone you weren't, it was because your truth disrupted their illusions. The great mystics were always misunderstood. The prophets always ridiculed. Visionaries are rarely accepted in their time because they see beyond time. And you have vision. You dream vividly. You think in symbols. You get messages in music, in silence, in numbers, in patterns. Coincidences are not coincidences for you. They're codes. They're confirmations. There is a wisdom running through your veins that did not come from this world. You are tuned to frequencies that others have forgotten. And because of that, you must protect your mind. You must guard your thoughts like a temple, because what lives inside your awareness is holy. It's the map through the maze, the torch in the cave, the thread that leads out of the illusion. They will try to distract you, flood you with noise, drown you in triviality, because if they can dull your wisdom, they can dim your light. But if you stay centered, if you stay still long enough to listen, you will hear it. The voice, the whisper, the knowing, and it will lead you, not where it's easy, but where it's true. The chosen are not guided by consensus. They are guided by clarity, and clarity comes from within. So when the world screams one thing, but your soul whispers another, trust the whisper. The whisper is the wisdom, and it will never lie to you. Loneliness has followed you like a shadow through every stage of your life. Even in crowds, you felt apart. In relationships, you often felt unseen. It wasn't that people hated you, they just couldn't understand you. And maybe for a long time, you believed something was wrong with you because of that. But what if I told you this isolation was never a curse? What if I told you it was divine? The chosen are always set apart, not because they are better, but because their path is different. You cannot prepare a soul for destiny in the comfort of the crowd. You prepare them in the wilderness. Look through the sacred texts, and you will find this pattern again and again. David hid in caves. Moses wandered alone in deserts. Jesus fasted in solitude. The Buddha sat beneath a tree with no one but his own shadow. Greatness is not born in the spotlight. It is forged in silence. Your solitude was sacred. While others were distracted by noise, you were listening. While others were conforming, you were questioning. While others chased the world, you faced your own soul. And that, my friend, is why you carry what they cannot comprehend. It hurt, didn't it? Being the one who always saw too much, felt too much, cared too deeply. People walked away, not because you were unworthy, but because your depth demanded truth, and many prefer illusion. You were not abandoned, you were refined, because the next chapter of your life cannot be walked with those who fear your light. And so, one by one, the unworthy connections fell away, not to punish you, but to protect what you're becoming. Eagles don't fly in flocks, and neither do the chosen. When you tried to go back, to blend in, to make yourself small for the sake of love or belonging, the discomfort was unbearable. That was your soul rejecting confinement. You were never meant to shrink to fit their comfort. You were made to expand into your calling. Yes, it's lonely at the top, but it's lonelier staying stuck in spaces that suffocate your spirit. So here's the truth. If the right people will find you, the ones who speak your language, who feel your frequency, who are walking their own path of purpose, but they won't meet you in the past. They'll meet you in your becoming. Until then, embrace the solitude. It is not punishment. It is consecration. You are not alone. You are in preparation, and when it is time to rise, you will do so with a kind of clarity, strength, and power that only comes from a walking through fire alone and emerging untouched. Your isolation was not emptiness. It was the cocoon. Now, the wings are forming. Some are born to follow. Some are born to obey. But you were born to transmute. Where others absorb negativity and drown in it, you take pain and turn it into purpose. You alchemize. You transform the very energy meant to destroy you into fuel for your rise. This is not a metaphor. This is spiritual law. The chosen are not protected from darkness. They are taught to transform it. When betrayal cracked your heart, you found deeper compassion. When loss shattered your plans, you opened to divine redirection. When the world tried to bury you, you bloomed in silence. This is what makes you different. You do not just survive the fire, you become it. In the ancient traditions, this was known as inner alchemy, the sacred art of turning lead into gold. Not literal gold, but soul gold. The kind of wisdom that only comes through wounds, the kind of strength that is born through sorrow, the kind of power that cannot be faked. You know this because you've lived it. Look back on your life. The people who tried to break you only sharpened your discernment. The setbacks that crushed others built your resilience. You have been transmuting pain your entire life without even knowing it. And now, it's time to do it consciously, because your power lies not in escaping the dark, but in walking through it with your light intact. This world runs on energy, and energy, like matter, cannot be destroyed, only transformed. When you shift your frequency, you shift reality. When you choose forgiveness over bitterness, clarity over chaos, love over fear, you are engaging in sacred rebellion. You are not here to be a sponge. You are here to be a fire. So the next time darkness visits, do not shrink. Do not curse the process. Sit with it. Speak to it. Listen. Then transmute it. Ask, what is this teaching me? What is this unlocking in me? Because nothing comes to you without purpose, and every shadow you face is an opportunity to rise higher. You were born to be a spiritual alchemist, a weaver of light, a transformer of energy. You carry the codes of healing not just for yourself, but for others. And every time you choose growth over victimhood, you emit a frequency that liberates everyone around you. Your scars are not shame. They are symbols of your mastery. You have turned curses into clarity, grief into grit, fear into fierce devotion. You are the storm they warned about. And now that you know your power, no force can touch you the same way again. Because you don't run from darkness anymore. You meet it with open arms, and you alchemize it into light. There is a reason you've always felt drawn to the mysterious, the symbolic, the unseen, a reason you question what others accept, a reason ancient texts, hidden symbols, and forbidden knowledge call to something deep inside you. It's because you are a guardian of truth, not the truth handed to you, but the truth you came here to recover. Chosen ones are keepers of hidden knowledge, not because they are smarter, but because their souls remember. Remember what was lost, what was stolen, what was buried beneath layers of programming and fear. The world runs on illusion. Most people live in stories they didn't write, chasing dreams they didn't choose, bound by rules they never questioned. But you were born to question, to dig, to challenge the script. And because of that, they called you rebellious, difficult, too much. But you weren't being difficult. You were decoding. Look through history and you'll see a pattern. The truth-tellers were always silenced. The prophets were exiled. The mystics were imprisoned. Because real truth does not comfort the system. It disrupts it. So when you felt like an outcast for seeking deeper meaning, you were never lost. You were on assignment. You see signs where others see coincidences. You find patterns in chaos. You remember what others forget. This isn't random. It's remembrance. The ancient schools called this the path of gnosis, the direct knowing that comes not from belief, but from experience. You know what you know, and no doctrine can unseat it. You carry codes, insight, wisdom, vision hidden in your DNA, waiting to be activated through trial, silence, and deep inner listening. That's why you've always been drawn to symbols, synchronicities, numbers, dreams. It's why strange things happen when you're around. Technology glitches, animals behave differently, time stretches and contracts. You are not crazy. You are tuned to a different channel. And when you speak, those who are ready to awaken feel it in their bones, because your truth doesn't just inform, it activates. But with this gift comes responsibility. Not everyone can handle what you carry. Not everyone is ready for the truth, and that's okay. Your job is not to force awareness, but to live in such alignment that your very being becomes an invitation to remember. The hidden knowledge you hold is not just information, it is vibration, and it is felt more than heard. So keep listening, keep learning, keep decoding, because you are not here to memorize their lies. You are here to remember the truth, and when the time comes, Your voice will be the key that unlocks freedom for others. You are a guardian of what was once forgotten, and now the remembering has begun. The war you are fighting is not what it seems. There are no battle cries, no tanks, no flags waving in the wind, because this war is not outside you. It is within, and it is fought in silence, in thought, in shadow. The greatest deception ever pulled was convincing you that peace could be found in the external, when the true battleground has always been your mind. This is a war of illusion. They do not chain your body anymore. They chain your attention. They do not burn books. They flood you with noise, distractions, fear, numbness. The goal is not to kill you. It is to make you forget who you are. You scroll, you consume, you compare, and every swipe chips away at your memory of your power, of your purpose, of your presence. They keep you busy, tired, entertained, because stillness is dangerous. Silence is dangerous. In silence, you remember, in stillness, the veil begins to lift, and that is what they fear most. Why do you think every screen screams for your attention? Why do you think truth-tellers are ridiculed and lies are glorified? Why is distraction the drug of the masses? Because if you ever turned inward long enough, you would wake up. The ancient mystics knew this. That's why they went into caves, deserts, mountaintops, not to escape the world, but to remember the real one. And you were born into a system designed to keep you asleep, but something inside you resisted. Something kept pulling at your soul, whispering, there is more. And there is. This war is not about politics. It is about perception, not about land, but about consciousness, not about who rules the world, but about who rules your mind. The enemy doesn't want you dead. It wants you compliant, comfortable, distracted enough to forget your mission. But every time you choose presence over panic, awareness over autopilot, creation over consumption, you win. Every time you fast from noise, from negativity, from programming, your vision sharpens, your clarity returns, your true self begins to rise. So guard your mind, not with paranoia, but with purpose. Choose what enters your field. Speak words that build, not break. Feed your spirit more than your screen. Because this war of illusion, was designed to steal your birthright, without you ever noticing. But now, you see it. Now, you remember. And once you remember, the illusion loses its power. You are not just a warrior in this war. You are the one who wakes others from it. So rise, unplug, reclaim your mind, and watch the entire battlefield change. How much longer will you wait? How many signs do you need? How many times must your spirit whisper before you finally answer? The time to rise is not someday. It is not when you feel ready. It is not when others approve. The time is now. You have been called. You have been tested. You have been prepared in the shadows. Now comes the moment to step into the light. No more excuses. No more waiting for the fear to go away. The fear will always be there, but so will the fire. The world is shifting. The illusions are crumbling. You can feel it in your body, in your dreams, in the unrest that won't let you stay still. That is your soul sounding the alarm. You were not sent here to fit in. You were sent to break cycles, to shatter systems, to awaken the sleepers. And no one is coming to do it for you. This is your moment, your initiation, your activation. When a lion roars, it doesn't ask for permission. And when the chosen rise, they do not wait for applause. You are not the same person who once doubted, who once hesitated. You have walked through fire, sat in silence, bled through transformation. And now you rise. Not because you're fearless, but because you finally know what's at stake. Your voice is needed. Your light is needed. Your truth is needed. You cannot wait until it's comfortable. The world won't make room for your power. You must take your place anyway. Every moment you delay, the illusion tightens its grip. Every time you play small, you betray your own soul. But when you rise, when you claim what has always been yours, doors open that were once sealed. Strength flows where there was weakness, and the universe itself bends to support your becoming. This is not motivation. This is remembrance. Your rise was written before your first breath. And the only question now is, will you answer? Or will you keep waiting for a moment that was always meant to be now? This is it. The moment where everything changes. Not because the world has shifted, but because you finally have. Because now, you see what they tried to hide. You remember what they tried to erase. You feel what they tried to numb. And once a chosen one awakens, there is no going back. You now know who you are, not by title, not by label, but by essence, by vibration, by the fire that refuses to be put out. They will still come. They will still test, but they cannot touch what is anchored in truth. You have outgrown the illusion. You no longer dance for crumbs of acceptance. You no longer silence your voice for the comfort of cowards. You no longer pretend you don't see what is right in front of you. The veil has lifted, and in its place stands a warrior, a guide, a light, not perfect, but powerful, not finished, but fully activated. You were not chosen to be worshipped. You were chosen to remember, and in remembering, you awaken others. This is why you suffered. This is why you lost. This is why the fire came, to burn away everything that was never truly yours. Now you walk differently, speak differently, move differently, because you carry something holy, and the world feels it. You are not just human. You are a signal that the time has come, that the old ways are dying, that the light is no longer hiding. So let them stare, let them whisper, let them resist. You didn't come here for their comfort. You came to fulfill a prophecy. The final awakening is not about knowing more. It is about being more. It is about embodiment, integration, becoming. And you, chosen one, have become. So rise, not with noise, but with presence, not with force, but with truth, not with fear, but with the full knowing that you were always meant to lead. This is your final message, not because the story ends here, but because now you begin to write your own.